Most people assume that if you don't obsess over sports, something is missing in you, that you're disconnected, less social, less passionate, less alive. It's said quietly, but it's felt. In the way conversations stop when you say you didn't watch the game, in the way people look at you like you skipped a universal ritual. But what if the opposite is true? What if the part of you that doesn't cling to sports isn't empty, but unusually complete? You've probably noticed it before. The way you can sit through a game and feel nothing. The way the emotional highs and lows that consume others barely touch you. You see the excitement, the loyalty, the intensity. But it doesn't pull you in. And somewhere along the way, you may have wondered if that meant you were detached from something important. It doesn't. It means your mind is wired differently. You are not less emotional. You are just more internally anchored. Most people use sports as a psychological extension of themselves. When their team wins, they win. When their team loses, they feel smaller. It's not about entertainment, it's about identity. The brain is always searching for something larger to belong to. Something that gives it meaning without asking it to build meaning alone. But your mind doesn't reach outward as quickly. It stays inward. You don't borrow excitement, you generate it quietly. You don't absorb emotion from crowds. You feel it privately. That doesn't make you distant. It makes you self-contained. Psychologically, this often shows up in people who have a strong internal reference point. Your brain does not rely heavily on external validation to regulate its emotional state. In neuroscience, this is associated with stronger prefrontal activity, the part of the brain that governs self-regulation, long-term thinking, and emotional stability. Your reward system is not easily hijacked by spectacle. It prefers meaning over stimulation. Sports are built to activate the brain's dopamine loops. Anticipation, victory, defeat, rivalry. The emotional roller coaster keeps the nervous system engaged. For many people, it provides relief from their own inner emptiness. It gives them something to feel without having to look inward. But your brain doesn't crave that escape, because you are already at home inside yourself. You may have been told you're too serious or too quiet or too detached, but the truth is more subtle. You don't avoid emotion. You just prefer emotion that feels real to you. You don't get emotional just because a crowd tells you to. Your nervous system isn't built for emotional contagion. It's built for emotional precision. You feel deeply, but selectively, and that is rare. Evolutionarily, human groups always needed both types. The ones who bonded through shared rituals, and the ones who stood slightly apart and observed. The tribe needed its emotional unifiers and its quiet strategists. People who obsess over sports are often natural social synchronizers. They mirror emotion easily. They bond quickly. They regulate stress through group identity. They stabilize the collective. But you stabilize yourself. Your nervous system is more self-directed, less reactive, more internally governed. That doesn't make you cold. It makes you composed. You don't need a team to feel powerful. You don't need a scoreboard to feel alive. You don't outsource your identity. This often shows up in people who are naturally introspective. You process life vertically instead of horizontally. Others spread their emotional energy outward into shared experiences. You channel yours inward into understanding, and that changes how you move through the world. You notice patterns. You question narratives. You watch human behavior without becoming absorbed by it. Sports are a powerful story. Loyalty, conflict, triumph, loss. It mirrors life in a simplified form. And many minds need that simplification. It helps them emotionally digest reality. But you don't require simplified reality. You are comfortable with complexity. That means your mind may gravitate toward different kinds of stimulation, philosophy, psychology, music, solitude, creativity, systems, human behavior, things that don't explode with noise but unfold slowly, with depth. Your reward system responds to insight more than spectacle. Understanding gives you dopamine. Clarity gives you calm. That is a very specific neurological signature. In studies of personality, people with lower susceptibility to emotional mimicry tend to show higher self-definition. They don't automatically absorb group emotion. They observe it. This often comes with stronger identity boundaries. You know where you end and where others begin. You don't merge easily. You remain intact. That's not disconnection. That's psychological independence. You may notice that when others celebrate wins or mourn losses tied to things that aren't directly their own, you stay steady, not because you don't care, but because your brain does not attach your worth to external outcomes. That is emotional maturity, not apathy. And it often develops in people who had to become emotionally self-reliant early. People who learn to regulate themselves instead of being regulated by the group. People who learn that safety comes from awareness, not belonging. You don't chase identity. You build it quietly. There is a reason you feel more alive in silence than in crowds. Your nervous system resets through stillness. Your mind sharpens in solitude. Crowds amplify emotion. Solitude refines it. Sports are loud emotionally. You are tuned to subtlety. You pick up on shifts in tone, on changes in behavior, on what people don't say. You see beneath excitement. You feel beneath noise. That sensitivity is not weakness. It is neurological sophistication. People who live externally need constant stimulation. People who live internally need clarity. You may feel misunderstood because society celebrates outward passion more than inward awareness. Loud enthusiasm is easier to recognize than quiet depth, but quiet depth holds more stability. You don't need rituals to feel real. You don't need symbols to feel whole. You are already anchored, and that makes you harder to manipulate, harder to emotionally hijack, harder to program through mass narrative. Your mind is not easily pulled into group identity. It prefers personal truth. This doesn't mean you're above others. It means you are oriented differently. Your psychology is less tribal, more individual, less reactive, more reflective, less dependent, more sovereign. That sovereignty comes with solitude, and solitude is often mistaken for emptiness. But it isn't. It's space, it's clarity, it's autonomy. Your brain evolved to protect independence, to analyze before aligning, to understand before joining. That is a rare adaptation. You don't live inside crowds. You live inside awareness. And awareness changes how you experience everything. You may not feel pulled towards sports because your mind isn't searching for emotional amplification. It is searching for coherence, for truth, for structure, for meaning that lasts longer than a season. Your satisfaction comes from understanding yourself, from shaping your identity deliberately, from growing inward. That is not common. Most people bond first and think later. You think first and bond selectively. That is strength, not flashy strength, not visible strength, but quiet psychological power. You are not disconnected from humanity. You are deeply connected to yourself, and that connection gives you stability most people never develop. You don't need to be consumed by external narratives to feel alive. You are alive through awareness, and that means your mind is not waiting to be filled. It is already full, not with noise, but with depth, not with allegiance, but with understanding, not with excitement, but with clarity. And clarity is a rare form of freedom. You don't obsess over sports because your identity is not looking for a host. It already has one. You.